Hi, Namaste. In the previous video, I told about respiration. What is called respiration? What is the need of respiration? I explained. Now in this video, let me tell about the kinds of respiration. So there are two kinds of respiration, aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration. Now let us learn about these two types of respirations. First, if we take aerobic respiration, the word aerobic itself tells that this type of respiration requires oxygen. So the first point under aerobic respiration is it requires oxygen. So what about anaerobic respiration? Easily we can say it doesn't require oxygen. So if you see this point, aerobic respiration requires oxygen. Already I told that respiration occurs through different pathways. If you take glycolysis, the first stage, oxygen is not required in the first step, that is the glycolysis process. In the further reactions, the food material has to be oxidized, so oxygen is required. And one more point we can understand, oxygen being the terminal acceptor of hydrogens of pyruvic acid, which is formed in the glycolysis process and form water, we call it as aerobic respiration. I will repeat. So you know that at the end of the glycolysis, pyruvic acid is formed. So these hydrogens of the pyruvic acid are finally transported to the oxygen to form water. So this respiration, aerobic respiration, requires oxygen. So aerobic respiration requires oxygen, whereas anaerobic respiration doesn't require oxygen, because only glycolysis process will take place in the anaerobic respiration. There won't be the Krebs cycle or electron transport, so there is no need of oxygen. So anaerobic respiration doesn't require oxygen. Second point, where it occurs, aerobic respiration, it occurs in cytoplasm and mitochondria. Anaerobic respiration, it occurs only in cytoplasm, because under aerobic respiration, glycolysis, Krebs cycle, other reactions will be there. But anaerobic respiration, only glycolysis will be there. So aerobic respiration occurs in the cytoplasm and mitochondria. In the cytoplasm, glycolysis process will take place, and in further reactions will take place in the mitochondria. Whereas anaerobic respiration, it occurs only in the cytoplasm, because glycolysis is the only step in anaerobic respiration. Third point, if you see, what are the end products of aerobic respiration? Already know that during the respiration, carbon dioxide and water are formed. So during the aerobic respiration, the end products are carbon dioxide, water and energy. So what about the end products of anaerobic respiration? Here the anaerobic respiration end products are ethyl alcohol, that is C2H5OH, plus carbon dioxide, or lactic acid. Here if you observe, when ethyl alcohol is produced, carbon dioxide is also produced. But when lactic acid is produced, there is no formation of or production of carbon dioxide. Ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide are formed by yeast cells, for example, yeast cells under the anaerobic respiration. Lactic acid is formed by bacteria. So later we will learn about this by bacteria, especially the lactobacillus. Lactobacillus is used in the preparation of curd by bacteria and also in some other tissues in our body. So the end products of aerobic respiration, carbon dioxide, water and energy. Anaerobic respiration end products are ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide or lactic acid. If you go to the next point, that is what happens during the aerobic respiration. During the aerobic respiration, complete oxidation of food material. Complete oxidation of what? That is especially the glucose. Complete oxidation of glucose takes place. But here, incomplete oxidation. So we can understand this as glycolysis and other steps are also taking place in the aerobic respiration. Complete oxidation of glucose takes place. So carbon dioxide and water are formed. But under the anaerobic respiration, if you see incomplete oxidation, that is only glycolysis is taking place. So because of that, incomplete oxidation takes place. Next point, if you see, how many ATP molecules? ATP means that is an energy rich molecule. How many ATP molecules are formed? 38 ATP molecules are formed. So a lot of energy is produced. More energy is produced. But here only 2 ATP molecules are formed. You see this? Here Krebs cycle, glycolysis and many other stages are also there. So here only glycolysis. So that's why only 2 ATP molecules. But here 38 ATP molecules are produced. So we can say that large amount of energy is produced in the aerobic respiration when compared to the anaerobic respiration. Next, water produced here, if you see, water and also carbon dioxide are produced. What about anaerobic respiration? Only so here we can see water is not formed. Next, what are the examples for aerobic respiration? So examples for aerobic respiration in which it occurs. Aerobic respiration occurs in all plants, animals. So we can see in all higher organisms we can see aerobic respiration, whereas anaerobic respiration we can see in lower organisms. So for example, bacteria and also in yeast. Yeast is the single cell fungi and we can see in germinating seeds. Germinating seeds and also in parasites. So worms, especially tapeworm, all these, and also in skeletal muscles. Skeletal muscles means muscles which are attached to our skeleton. So in the next video I will tell how the anaerobic respiration takes place in the skeletal muscles. Next, if you see the equation for aerobic respiration, you know that glucose is broken down. So glucose formula C6H12O6. It occurs in the presence of oxygen. So it is 6O2. It gives rise to what are the end products? Carbon dioxide and water. So 6CO2, 6H2O, and energy is released. Same equation we can write, that is instead of what is the amount of energy, that is 686 kilocalories of energy. If you take this, it is 180 grams of glucose. From 180 grams of glucose, 686 kilocalories of energy is produced. Same equation we can write as 38 ATP plus 420 kilocalories of heat energy. So here we have to understand most of the energy is stored as ATP and rest of the energy is released as heat. Do you know that that this heat energy which is released during the respiration keeps our body warm. We have particular body temperature, that is because of heat that is produced during the respiration. So the sum of the energy produced during the respiration is used to keep our body warm. Under anaerobic respiration, you know that glucose is H12O6. It undergoes incomplete oxidation and occurs in the absence of oxygen. So there is no need to write it here oxygen. So glucose molecule is broken down and form ethyl alcohol C2H5OH. Whenever ethyl alcohol is produced, carbon dioxide is produced. And energy, small amount of energy is produced. That is 56 kilocalories of energy, or 2 ATP molecules are produced. Instead of C2H5OH ethyl alcohol, sometimes lactic acid is produced in bacteria. There is no production of carbon dioxide. If you want to see this 686 kilocalories of energy, we can also write this in the joules. If you want to write this in kilojoules, we can write 686 into 4.2 joules, that is equal to 2890 kilojoules. From each ATP molecule, from one ATP molecule, we can get 7 kilocalories of energy. From one ATP molecule, 7 kilocalories of energy. So from 38 ATP molecules, what is the amount of energy produced? 38 into 7, that is 266 kilocalories of energy is produced. But here I wrote 686 kilocalories of energy. So what is this 266? If you see this, 686 minus here 266. That is equal to 420 kilocalories of energy. That is the heat energy. So here you can understand why we have written 686 kilocalories. Here 266 means most of the energy is released as heat energy. That is 420 kilocalories of energy is released as heat. So one more point here to remember. This is the fact. During cold climate generally we shiver. So shivering and clattering of teeth you might have observed. It is an emergency activity of the muscle cells to produce extra heat to keep our body warm during the cold conditions, or when it is especially during the winter conditions we shiver because the muscles will produce extra heat by this method. Now what is fermentation? It is a well-known word, fermentation. First, let us see the definition for fermentation. The process during which yeast cells convert pyruvic acid that is formed during the glycolysis process to ethyl alcohol in the absence of oxygen is fermentation. So, let us see the fermentation definition. It is a process during which yeast cells. What are yeast cells? Single cell fungi. Yeast cells, they convert pyruvic acid into ethyl alcohol. And carbon dioxide in the absence of oxygen. So, yeast cells converting the pyruvic acid into ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide in the absence of oxygen is called as fermentation. So it is the well-known process which can be observed in our kitchens in the preparation of idli dosa. You know that idli dosa dough is fermented overnight. Why we have to ferment those substances? Because the substance will become bulge or it becomes sour, S-O-A-R. That is sour means bulge. So during the fermentation process, when the dough is fermented, the flour will become, or the dough will become sour, or it becomes very soft and sour. That is bulge. And also we can observe when we spread the dosa on the pan, you can see some holes will develop. So what are those holes? Why do they develop? Because whenever the carbon dioxide is escaping from the dough, when we spread it on the very hot pan, the carbon dioxide will leave from the dough. So there we can see some holes. For example, like these small holes will appear. These are where the carbon dioxide is escaping. There we can see the small holes on the dosa. So this fermentation process, generally it is used for large scale production of alcohol. So what are the raw materials in the production of alcohol in the factories, especially molasses? In the preparation of alcohol in the factories, raw materials, especially those are molasses. Molasses means when the sugar is extracted from the sugar cane, the remaining waste is known as molasses. And also the molasses, grape juice, germinating barley, or wheat, germinating barley or wheat. So like this, different materials are used in the factories for the production of ethyl alcohol. So here when the ethyl alcohol is produced, this ethanol can be separated from the yeast glucose solution by a method that is known as fractional distillation. Fractional distillation. To separate the ethyl alcohol from the glucose yeast solution, generally we use the fractional distillation method. So this fractional distillation method is nothing but, you know that chemical compounds present in the mixture are separated by heating them at a temperature at which one or more fractions of mixture will vaporize. That is called as fractional distillation. So when we are heating this mixture, the ethyl alcohol is separated from the glucose yeast solution, because you know that the ethyl alcohol generally boils at the lower temperature, that is 70 degrees centigrade than sugar. So generally ethyl alcohol boils at lower temperature. At lower temperature, that is 70 degrees centigrade than the sugar molecules.